that will allow for continued such shared efforts in the future. On a national level, the theme is equally applicable. Unified nations are inherently stronger nations. In fact, this motto of unity is strength brings to mind the fundamental principle that is enshrined in America's traditional motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. In order for us to be our strongest, we have to come together out of our diversity to make a more unified whole. Like in the United States, many nations in Africa are diverse countries with many cultures and languages and histories. These differences are sources of local and ethnic pride, as they should be. But we need to work to bring us together across our differences. If we do so, we will be stronger for it. Because diversity is not something that needs to divide us. Diversity committed to unity makes us stronger. We have seen that in the United States at key times in our history, and it is true for other nations as well. At its best, the military can play a critical role in building this national cohesion and continent-wide partnership. Because after all, the military is one of the few institutions that brings people together from across the nation, from every race, religion, and class. Where in our Army, a first-generation Dominican American might serve alongside a descendant of someone who fought in our War of Independence. Or here in Nigeria, where an Igbo from Ogoni might fight stand and shoulder to shoulder with the Fulani from Bauchi. At the end of the day, their individual backgrounds are really of little importance. Instead, all that matters, to paraphrase the U.S. Army's Soldier's Creed, is that together they are warriors. With such power, however, comes great responsibility, because as we have seen, the military can, at its best, unite a nation, but at its worst, it can tear it apart. In his famous funeral oration, Pericles, who was an ancient Greek statesman and general, he honored the fallen soldiers by underscoring the value that the government sought to defend. He dwelt upon the greatness of Athens' democracy because, as he said, I want to show you that we are contending for a higher prize than those who enjoy none of these privileges, and to establish by manifest proof the merit of these men who I am now commemorating. For in magnifying the city, I have magnified them, and men like these whose virtues are made the city more glorious. Pericles' words continue to ring true today. The strength and the justice of our nations magnifies the sacrifice and virtue, like all of you, who serve to protect them. Yours is a sacred calling, to protect our nations, to work for partnership, to build a more peaceful continent and a more peaceful world. I wish you all a very fruitful and successful summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. David Young, Child Affairs, United States Embassy to Nigeria. Please, a round of applause for him once again. That will take me to the next item in the program, which is remarks of the 36th Vice Chief of Staff of the United States Army, General McCurvey. It is my singular honor and privilege to invite the Vice Chief of Staff of the United States Army.
Well, good morning, and the chief of of the Nigerian forces. Sir, thank you for having me here today. And distinguished leaders, distinguished diplomats, friends, on behalf of General Milley, our Chief of Staff, I first want to say what an honor it is for us to be here with you today. I'd like to thank General Buratai, Chief of Staff of the Nigerian Army, for putting this event together, a very, very important event. I'd also like to thank the Nigerian band who's performed so well today. And a special thanks to all the Nigerian forces who have been instrumental in making this happen. These type of events don't happen very easily. Behind the scenes, there's logistics, transportation, escorts, military, and they have done just a fabulous job. So please join me in thanking the Nigerian forces. Thank you, sir. The many regional partnerships we have across the continent are critically important to the security in Africa, which contributes to the security throughout the world. The U.S. Army is proud to join in security partnerships exercised with many of the nations. The U.S. Army and the United States is committed to working alongside our African allies and partners to strengthen our collective response to the challenges that we face today. The theme of this year's summit, Unity is Strength, is particularly appropriate when we look at the character of events going on in the world today. And although many of us are land forces commanders or leaders, in the future we will be contested in every domain. We'll be contested on the land, we'll be contested in the air, at sea, in space, and in the cyber domain. In this future environment, interoperability across allies and partners is even more critical than it is today. The only way we can defeat our adversaries and threats is by working together and forming strong alliances and partnerships that will withstand the test of adverse and challenging circumstances. Although we all come from different places, diverse cultures, and we speak a variety of languages, we are united by our need to work together. That's why we are here this week. And this is going to be a great opportunity to foster a candid exchange of ideas, to develop new relationships, and to learn lessons from our partners in the region. There is so much experience in this room, and I know we will all benefit from the discussions we will have this week. The solutions we develop and the relationships we build this week will improve security and stability, not only in Africa, but the rest of the world. So I look forward to working with you all this week and into the future. Thank you again for all being here. We are very proud to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we'll give him another round of applause, please. Next is to invite the special guest of honor on today's great event, who is the Chief of Defense Staff, Nigerian Armed Forces, General A.G. Olunsake. He will give his remarks and thereafter declare this African Land Forces Summit 2018 open. The Chief of Defense Staff, sir.
The Vice Chief of Staff, United States Army, General McCowell, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General T.Y. Buratai, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral I.E. Bass, Mr. David Young, Child Affairs, United States Embassy, Nigeria, heads of diplomatic missions in Nigeria, representative of the Chief of the Air Staff, defense attaché of various countries, Our